we're going to demonstrate loading the Legacy Manual Advance Manual Feed Auto Cut System. To load, you first need to remove the bracket holding the core tube. Take your roll and slide it onto the tube all the way in to the stop, to the other end. And it will come up against a stop. Using one of our locking cores, slide that onto the shaft and tighten. This prevents the roll from moving left to right. Now take the bracket, hook it, and lift the roll into place. Repeat for the smaller roll. We have already installed a stop on the other side of this shaft for positioning. Again, hook, lift up into position, and you are now have the rolls loaded onto the core shaft. To load a roll of film, load a roll of paper, first disconnect the air from the system, then lift the lid. You do this when loading because otherwise you're going to be bleeding a lot of air. Using the tool provided, you can then choose which roll of material you wish to grab by reaching in and pulling up on the paper. You also have to remove the front deflector. Pull some material up. Alright. Replacing the deflector, it slides in. It slides into a slot underneath the cutter head, and on the other side goes into a slot the same, and there is a stop provided, so you know when it's properly in place. Using the tool provided, tuck the material underneath and in between the roller and the deflector. As it passes, it'll pass through and be on the tabletop. At this point, you can close the lid for a moment and then connect the air. That's right. Wait, on this side. Okay, now we can lift the top. As you hear, the safety feature is engaged. And what happened was we had the handle already moved to make the cut. To close the nips, you're going to flip this little lever towards the cutter head. Okay, make sure you keep your hands clear of the open nips. Use this lever here, flip the lever, and the nips will close. Open them. Flip the lever in the opposite direction, they open, and again, flip it. The lever is specifically set up opposite the roller. Close the lid. By cranking the crank, we can then get the material to come up. Once the material is up, you can either continue to crank or pull manually. The choice is the operator's. When the desired amount of material is reached, by moving the handle to the opposite position, a cut will be made. And right here you can see the cutter head coming across. Just throw it on the floor. And we'll do one more. Okay, now you can open the lid and change rolls. However, like I said, you may choose to disconnect. At this time, we are going to leave it connected so you can hear the air bleed. He's first going to remove the front deflector. Going to then open the nip. He's going to use the tool or go underneath and pull that piece of material down. He will then grab the next roll. Again, using the tool that we're providing, it does make it easier for a single person to load the machine. Tucking it under the roller. He'll then close the nip, reinstall the front deflector again, and note that we've had the cutter head opposite the operator, so away from the operator's side. Close the lid, and now we can do the 48-inch wide material. Again, he will crank some through to the desired length, either pull or crank it the rest of the way, make the cut. The cut can be sped up by opening up some bleeder valves. I'm going to open the lid, cover the switch. To increase the speed of the cutter, you open up this screw here and then tighten the nut when you get to the desired speed. Open yours up a little bit too on that side. Just don't tighten the nuts yet. For demonstration purposes, we're just going to open up the screws to show you the faster moving. Also shown right here is for the low volume air, the connection. Okay, now he's going to make a cut, and you'll see the cutter head go across much faster. And one more time, just to show it going back. It has a one-way clutch on it to allow it to drop out of the way. But it will engage and crank when you want to crank the material through. On our system, again, to control the cutter head, to make a cut, you move the lever either from the left to the right or the right to the left. When it is to the left position, the cutter head will be nearest the operator. When you're loading, unloading, changing, anything other than blade adjustment and changing the blade, you want the cutter head away from the operator. So you'd have to move it to the right. The safety feature is this valve here. When you lift up on the lid, that valve is opened. It will bleed the air from the cutter. The cutter will not work. If I mock it up, can you flip the switch? And the valve is engaged, the cutter will work. Do not override this switch. The loading tool that we supply can be stored safely and easily in either one of the core shafts. I'm going to show you the nip opening from the inside of the unit. We use a cylinder on either side, and they're controlled through flow control valves located one at the top of the cylinder, one at the bottom of the cylinder. These can be adjusted easily by turning the knobs. To do that, though, you will have to disconnect the top of the unit. On this side here, the non-operator side, on the back corner is where the low volume air connection is located as well. They're located on the same side, the non-operator side of the unit. The nips that we use, or the rollers that we use, are coated with a rubber hose to provide good grip. Close the nips. Go ahead, close the nips. And you'll see the nip closing again. If you have any questions, please feel free to call us at area code 847-259-1675 or call Jim on his cell at 630-464-3761. Thank you. This is how you adjust the spring tension by using a wrench, sticking it into the knurl. Now, there are holes on all four sides, and you can loosen or tighten the spring tension.